All right, welcome to SeizeYourBusiness.com, our podcast and video blog for business owners. My name is Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law, joined as always by my radio partner Jim Waszak. Tell everybody, refresh everyone's memory what you're doing these days.
Jim Waszak. I sell supplemental cancer insurance. When people get cancer, they don't realize how big the bill is that they're responsible for. Our policies protect families from that.
Okay. And our guest today is Jason Peterson from STC Bank. Is that the appropriate?
STC Capital Bank, but that's pretty close.
STC Capital Bank.
Just to make sure it's not STD Bank. Right?
No, no.
Okay, thank goodness.
Great rates.
For that.
None of that.
Okay.
And Jason's a mortgage lender, and our topic today is going to be how to keep your clients happy, because a lot of what you do, Jason, is client-facing and making people feel good about the process and want to refer their friends to you. So
Absolutely. It's very relationship-based, and you always have to put your best foot forward when you work with your clients. You always have to set the most accurate expectations, and you always have to make your commitments. And as long as you do that, you have a pretty happy, content client.
So I want to dive into all of those separate things. That's a good roadmap. I first want you to give us a little background on yourself,
Sure.
your bank, what you do, who you can help. Give us your 5-minute infomercial on who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm a loan officer specializing in residential real estate. I've been doing this for 5 years. I'm with a company called STC Capital Bank, and we work with two types of programs, what's called correspondent lending and portfolio. Correspondent is basically we can underwrite and sell to 7 different banks besides us, which is great. I also get the wholesale interest rate, which would be lower than the other bank would offer you. So if you go into, I won't name a bank, but you go into a major bank, they can offer you one rate. If you come to me, I can actually get you the same programs they can at a lower rate. Plus, since I'm a smaller operation and we process, underwrite, and close fund in-house, I can actually get you closed much quicker.
I didn't know there were different rates based on wholesale or not wholesale.
Absolutely. That's
just good information for everybody to know.
Well, if you think about it, to pay their employees their salary, their benefits, run their operation, it's cheaper to have me do all the legwork and then buy the finished product after we're done.
So you laid out, I think, 3 key principles to client service. I'm not sure if you remember what you said at the very beginning, but I wanted to dissect them. I think you said something about setting expectations, delivering on those expectations. But
that sounds good. I'll take credit for that.
Yeah. So
sounds good.
You've got a lot of experience in dealing with clients all day long, keeping them happy. You're competing with a lot of other people in your industry, just like all of us, and people want to go to the people their friends refer to.
Absolutely.
So how do you do it? What are some of the secrets to your success?
Well, the statistic they say is you want to touch your book 33 times to get a certain amount more business. I want to say maybe 20-30% more deals just from that by doing those activities, which is pretty impossible for any busy individual.
When you say touch your book, I have a general sense of what you mean by that, but what is that?
Following up on post-close a year after, once a year review, say, hey, I'm Jason, I want to offer you just a yearly annual review, which gives service to the client because situations change all the time. Refinance is really in an upward rate economy is not about just getting a lower interest rate. It's about true debt management. Following up on birthdays, really just building a relationship.
So touch your book is one individual client you need to contact 33 times.
Yes, which is very
very
unlikely, but if you follow that habit.
Over what time period?
1 year.
Over 1 year?
Yes. And they have to be organic, value-added touches.
That's almost like once a week.
Yeah, that's at least 2.5 times a month.
Yeah, you want the idea is to have some type of post-close email chain.
So it's not necessarily a phone call.
It's not absolutely. It's not always a phone call. It's just some way to stay relevant, not be a nuisance, and just add some type of value.
We try to do that. That's the whole purpose of our email blast.
Yeah.
And why we
I don't know how much
events.
value they add me. I'm done.
Yeah, hey, you come to our events, man.
I do.
Right.
I'm teasing.
Well, but yeah, I think that it's probably better to do a variety of things.
Absolutely, it's not just all It's not just all one activity. It's just a variety of just different ways to stay in contact. It can be passive, can be a phone call, mail a card.
So how do you set up a system for that?
Well, I won't name the system because they're not paying me to advertise for them, but we use a CRM system, which is great. It allows you to do a 5-year drip campaign of just, it sends out just random emails once a quarter. It's like, hey, when's the last time you spoke to your loan officer? They actually went out today. I got 4 responses. I'm like, yeah, what's the rate? I'm looking to refinance. And it also will send out little birthday cards, anniversary cards. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not
the system like
the system
bills you and like contacts the vendor and makes.
Well, my employer sets everything up for me.
Okay.
But it's also more than that. I mean, you really want to know, the name. If you're going to send like an anniversary card, it's better to maybe give a phone call as well. Or and also too, it's important to take a step back and realize you want to grade all your clients based on your relationship. Some clients that do business with you might not want to get an anniversary card. They might not view it in that personal sense.
Yeah.
But it's all about knowing your client. And eventually those clients, from my experience, the clients that came across the most difficult to work with ended up being my best clients because I believe they were able to see my effort and respected what I was able to do for them and appreciated those results.
So I got a question for you. I don't know how prevalent this is, but I've heard of this happening. So let's say I'm the buyer. I've got this deal all put together. I come to you. You approve me for a mortgage. We get to closing, and something goes wrong. The seller takes some crazy position, or the attorney, or there's some issue that we didn't realize. Now I'm mad it didn't close. I don't know. Don't do this every day, so maybe I'm mad at you too. I mean, how do you diffuse that?
Absolutely. I would definitely understand someone's reaction to that. The first thing you want to take a step back is the mortgage process has so many moving parts. There's always going to be issues. Don't judge me based on the issues we deal with. Judge me based on how quickly we can overcome these challenges. There's always going to be challenges. Okay. And I've had situations where I had a gentleman actually quit his job right before closing. And we still got that loan closed because I'm like, well, guess what? We'll extend your rate. We're going to get an extension on the contract, and you're going to start your new job early. And we'll make it work. It's just, again, it goes back to setting expectations that until those keys in your hand, anything can really happen. But that's why you work with us, because we're professionals. We're a small team that's nimble, that can get things done very quickly.
Okay.
Do you have any really good success stories of when like you had everything falling apart on you and you were able to go above and beyond for the client, like save a client's butt in a transaction, or just go that extra mile, and what that looks like?
Yeah. I'm working with a transaction right now where it's not something that actually began with me. I have one of our employees actually left, so I took over one of his files, and it was a complete disaster. It was actually being on the verge of being declined. They had a foreclosure that they didn't disclose that was in enough time period where we had to switch programs, and we're working to get down payment assistance. So it was a lot of haggling to get an extension on the contract. It was a lot of calming nerves when you have a client when your representative is jumping ship halfway through and you're in the storm, in the eye of hurricane, so to speak. But we were able to get the program switched. We were able to get all the updates I needed in the system on the credit to make everything work, and we're actually going to close in a week. And this is something that everyone thought was going to be declined, that we completely turned around, and the client's extremely happy. And I mean, we haven't closed yet, so again, many things can always happen, but I'm very confident this will be closing next week.
So how do you balance, you mentioned your 33 touches, and you gave me the disclaimer that that's an aspiration, not necessarily something that you can that everybody can do very easily. But how do you balance the bringing in of new business versus the paying attention to your CRM system and it's serving both masters there?
It's having a very dedicated process. So, Monday you call your top 40 clients, right? And that could be, I'm sorry, not top 40 clients, but a top 40 referral sources, which could actually be a client. And that could be a different number for anybody. I treat it as, hey, they give me 4 deals a year. Then Tuesday I will call new realtors that I'm trying to reach. A lot of this business, though, you have to realize is organic. It's just owning every aspect of the transaction, from getting that contract to reaching out to all parties to making that forward call to the seller's realtor and saying, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, if I make all these commitments and get you everything that we need in a timely manner, will you commit to having a cup of coffee with me? And just being out there, because you'll be shocked how many people in our business are not professionals. And, that little difference between, better to best or good to great is very minimal, and just a few changes in a system can really tweak that. But again, I'm a human being like anybody, and it's easy to say that I have this very tight system.
Well,
but it's more of it's work in progress always, and you're always perfecting it. But the general idea is to focus on those activities, and then again Wednesday, more prospecting, reaching out to past pre-approvals, reaching out to past clients, reaching out to customers that are actively looking, and just seeing where everyone's at. Thursdays, just managing your pipeline with your processors, and Friday is reaching out and giving those commitments. But the goal is to make your business activities generate you business by just showing your professionalism.
So, referrals. Do you typically ask for referrals as soon as the closing happens, or do you wait a while for them to get? I mean, what's your process for asking for referrals?
Well, you're always kind of planting the seeds from when you meet with your client based on their level of, comfort in the transaction, whether you sit with them or over the phone, you get their documents, and, the first off is you want to make sure you're completely aware of their transaction, you have everything set. And typically, I don't really, bring anything else into the mix until we have that a conditional approval from an underwriter, and we have some direction to where we're going. And then at that point, when I'm at my, the peak of everything's going well, you say you're having a great experience. Do you know anyone else? And from what I've seen, a lot of times I'll get calls from clients without me even asking them, just because you really just have to wow your clientele. And it's so simple as just setting correct expectations. People just want to be respected, and they don't want to be lied to.
Yeah.
You get a lot of people in this business that it's also a sales business that just promise the world.
Sure.
And that doesn't make you a better person to work with. You just set some image, and if you don't achieve that, you fail. But if you set proper expectations and you exceed those, the last closing, I think the last 5 closings I closed before the closing day, and the attorney was very happy. The listing agent was very happy. I've set so many appointments just by consistently doing that.
Okay, so this is a little bit off topic, but it's a philosophical question.
Yes.
So, you mentioned a story about the guy quit his job right before closing. They had a foreclosure, all these negative things, but you still got them done. Do you ever think we're just too lenient with giving people loans, and then as soon as there's a little blip in the economy or something, all of a sudden everybody's in trouble?
Well, it's interesting you say that. I was at a meeting last week, and what you see in times like these when the rates are going up, and a lot of the shops that do strictly refinances will start to go away. You don't have subprime, but you have these programs that are what they call non-prime. Now, mind you, they aren't sold on the secondary market. They are housed within portfolio lending, which is that company's own funds. So it's a little bit different, but there are programs that allow certain I guess what's the word, liberties in certain senses, but there's also a lot more security in terms of what gets verified. So even though you have these programs that seem rather 0%, no PMI, but when you look at how we qualify you, it's much more conservative in how it's measured. And I think that was the biggest issue, because in my opinion, this is my personal opinion, when you look back at 2008, all these programs, these no income, no documentation, these no tax returns, these negative amortization,
125% of equity.
They had specific markets where legitimate customers would make sense. So the negative amortization was for a market that was a movie star. You had paid at certain intervals. So you wouldn't make payments, but when you got paid, you would pay your mortgage down. You'd pay it off.
Interesting.
The ones that allowed you liberties in terms of the tax returns was for self-employed individuals that make more money, but with the way our tax laws work, I have to take all those deductions out of there that as a W-2 individual you don't have the right to, but if you could, you would. So it's not fair to count on one person as the other. So I think as long as controls are in place, and I think as long as we keep verifying every document, because the policy is everything you give me, I verify with an external source. You give me a pay stub, I call your employer. You give me a tax return, I call the IRS. And I think as long as that is consistent, I don't know. I don't see it happening again to that extent. But
Okay.
what do I know?
Well, who knows? Yeah, exactly.
Well, Jason, thanks so much for your time
Yeah.
today.
No, thank you, Kevin.
Tell me how people can reach you if they need a mortgage. Or
Yeah. Again, my name is Jason Peterson. My number is 630-362-9887. My email is jpeterson, that's Peterson, at stccapitalbank.com.
Okay, cool. And
Super.
Jim, how can people reach you?
630-272-3895, anytime, day or night.
You can reach me at 630-324-6666. We offer free consultations in almost every area of law. If you like what you're hearing here, you can check out more video, audio, and transcripts, actually, at seizeyourbusiness.com. I do a law podcast, learn-about-law.com, and also do a real estate podcast, makingrealestatefun.com. I want to thank Tom Weiler, our videographer from Weiler Studios. If you like his video and your business needs a video, go to weilerstudios.com, and that's Weiler with a Y. So thanks so much for listening.